Welcome to List Of. Today, we are peeling back the curtain on the most magnificent, hilarious, and downright embarrassing lies ever told. These are not little white fibs. These are global spectacles that prove, time and time again, that the human desire to believe is often stronger than our desire to check the facts. This is the list of famous hoaxes that fooled the world. Let's start in 1835, when the world looked skyward and saw paradise thanks to the New York Sun newspaper. This was the Great Moon Hoax. The Sun claimed that the great astronomer Sir John Herschel had used a magnificent new telescope to observe the moon in impossible detail. What did he see? Forests, oceans, and colonies of winged inhabitants resembling human bat hybrids. This was front-page news. It was spectacular, and it was completely made up. The bat people sold a lot of papers, but they were never seen again. But if we like imaginary primates in space, we loved imaginary primates right here on Earth. In 1912, scientists across Britain celebrated a revolutionary discovery: the Piltdown Man. Pieces of a skull and jawbone were presented as the definitive missing link between apes and humans, supposedly proving that the cradle of humanity was Britain, not Africa. The scientific community fought over it for 40 years, until forensic analysis revealed the truth. The skull was medieval human, the jaw was from a modern orangutan, and everything had been artificially stained to look ancient. The Piltdown Man was less a missing link and more an awkward prank played on 4 decades of academic research. Hoaxes, however, don't always need to be ancient to be effective. Sometimes they just need to be colossal. Take 1869, when a construction crew in New York unearthed a petrified 10-foot-tall human body. This was the Cardiff giant. Some declared it a fossil, others declared it one of the Nephilim, biblical giants. Thousands flocked to see it. It was, of course, a statue carved out of gypsum. A cigar manufacturer named George Hull had commissioned it, buried it, and arranged the discovery purely to make a joke about fundamentalist religious literalism. Hull made a fortune off the exhibit before P.T. Barnum tried to buy it. When Hull refused, Barnum simply made his own better fake giant and claimed that was the real one. Hoaxes come in big forms and small, magical forms. In 1917, 2 young English cousins gave the world something it desperately wanted to be true: proof of myth. Using their father's camera, Elsie Wright and Frances Griffiths staged photographs of themselves interacting with dancing, tiny, winged figures. These were the Cottingley Fairies. Even Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, creator of the hyper-rational Sherlock Holmes, was convinced. The photos became famous worldwide until the girls, now elderly, finally admitted in the 1980s that the fairies were just paper cutouts propped up with hatpins. The hunger for the fantastical often overshadows photographic evidence. A good case in point is the most famous blurry photo in history, the Loch Ness monster photo. In 1934, a photograph was published showing the long neck of a creature poking out of the Scottish waters. It terrified and thrilled the world for decades. The truth? The photo was taken using a toy submarine fitted with a wooden head and neck, crafted by a local practical joker. The hoaxer's son finally confessed on his deathbed. But the most effective hoaxes are the ones that exploit our fear, not just our wonder. On Halloween night 1938, Orson Welles broadcast his radio adaptation of H.G. Wells' The War of the Worlds. Many listeners tuning in late missed the opening disclaimer and genuinely believed that Earth was being invaded by Martians armed with heat rays. The War of the Worlds radio broadcast caused mass panic on the East Coast, with terrified citizens fleeing their cities. It was an accidental hoax, certainly, but it proved the chilling power of media manipulation. That power was used consciously decades later in the most profound historical forgery of the late 20th century, the Hitler Diaries. In 1983, Stern magazine announced it had acquired 60 volumes of Adolf Hitler's secret journals, covering decades of his rule. The documents were authenticated by experts who were later revealed to have been profoundly negligent and sold for millions. The diaries were finally exposed as sloppy fakes on coffee-stained paper written with modern ink. The scandal was massive, rocking both the historical and journalistic professions. And finally, we have the modern media spectacle that proves a simple lie can still command the attention of the globe. In 2009, an object resembling a silver balloon drifted across the Colorado sky. The parents of 6-year-old Falcon Heaney claimed their son had accidentally floated away trapped inside. This was the Balloon Boy hoax. The story halted air traffic, dominated cable news for hours, and launched a massive search and rescue operation. When the child was found safely hiding in an attic at home, it soon became clear the entire event was a pre-planned media stunt orchestrated by the parents to pitch a reality show. From imaginary Batmen to paper fairies to a boy in an attic, these hoaxes span centuries and motivations, but they all share a common thread. We love a good story, and a truly great lie is almost always more compelling than the plain truth. Thank you for tuning in. If you were fooled by any of the magnificent deceptions on this list, let us know which one in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to List Of for more definitive breakdowns of the incredible, the factual, and the wildly unbelievable. We'll see you next time.